The Powertrain Perspective podcast is sponsored by TransStar Aftermarket Solutions.
Well, welcome to the Powertrain Perspective, sponsored by TransStar Industries. Today I'm going to talk with a longtime friend of mine, Scott Schleck. Scott is one of the owners of Midwest Transmission Center. It's located in Zumbrota, Minnesota, and they do a variety of products for aftermarket repair shops. And Scott, just give us a brief overview of the company, what products are there, and what geography you serve.
Well, as far as geography, Midwest Transmission is a nationwide company. We provide manual transmissions, transfer cases, front and rear differentials. Since you've been up to see us, Bobby, we have diversified some. We bought another company, so we're into many different things. That company's in Maple Grove. We've got a full shop there, but we also do custom drive shafts, semi-drive shafts. We've got a full drive line shop there. As far as Midwest Transmission, that was the founder. That was the first company. We started that in 1995, and we ship nationwide almost daily. Well, we do ship nationwide daily, just depending on logistics where things are going.
And Scott, the other the company you acquired, if I'm not incorrect, is Proven Force.
That is correct.
Yeah. So that's also a name that people will in our industry will be aware of and know.
Sure.
So if we focus a bit on manual transmissions for a second, that gets smaller and smaller as far as the number of vehicles so equipped, and yet it seems to still be a viable aftermarket segment. Where are those? Is most of that replacement of stock units, do you find, or is most of it some sort of upgrade to stock unit?
Most of it, I would say 90% of it is a replacement of stock units. And obviously people are keeping their vehicles longer because of the cost of new vehicles. But we find that even up here in the Midwest, we sell a lot of manual transmission product. Obviously transfer cases are never going to go away. That was a discussion we had about 12 years ago with manual transmissions. And we had the discussion, I'd rather be proactive than reactive. We, after we had acquired Proven Force, we decided to branch out and also go into basically everything under the vehicle. So we went into the automatic transmission division also. I figured my comment back then was in 10 years, we won't see manual transmissions. I was wrong. I was really wrong. And I think we're busier now with manual transmissions than we were 10 years ago. But I think the reason being is there's less players in the market. You know, a lot of the older guys that dealt with that kind of stuff, they've retired, they've moved on, they've sold shops, they've went a different direction. So that is what's driving that market now, that there's fewer of us doing it.
And do you find that mostly you're dealing with cars, with light trucks, with medium duty trucks, tow trucks?
Mostly light trucks, I would say. Some medium duty, but mostly consumer light trucks, half tons, 3/4 tons, 1 tons. You know, then we get into the 450s, 550s, obviously, and we do some of the bigger stuff. I just don't advertise that we do because we're too busy.
And you also, while we're in the area of manual transmissions, you also handle clutches there.
Correct. Yeah, we've got a full line we are a Luke distributor. We're also a South Bend distributor. So we handle everything from stock replacement to heavy duty to basically whatever anybody would want. We do a lot of custom builds on manual transmissions for a lot of the high horsepower guys, the truck pullers, the guys running triple disc clutches, double disc clutches, etc.
So those are upgrades really that happen in the area of the clutch as opposed to necessarily the unit itself.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, back to that point of the high horsepower guys, we do a lot of cryogenically freezing of parts too, suspect parts that are prone for breakage. And that really has changed things.
And what does that do? That makes it handle more torque, or?
Yeah. So, for instance, if we determine what needs to be cryogenically frozen, we send it to a cryo lab. The explanation I've got is they take it to 300 degrees below zero for 60 hours. And then, of course, there's a drawback, but they tell me it'll raise the tensile strength of it 25 to 30%, which is enough to take a lot of guys through that threshold where they're breaking things. So there's always a weak link. So then they'll break U joints and drive shafts and transfer cases, but they'll quit breaking the transmission.
Which is a plus, I would think.
Yeah,
Now,
because it's the most expensive part of the drivetrain.
exactly, exactly. What about technical support? Do you all man a line or talk to customers? How do you handle the guy that's got a question?
Most of those, all of those questions come into my Midwest facility. I do facilitate about 50 emails a day through our website with people with questions, want to buy parts and stuff. If my salespeople can't answer the question that's being asked, then the phone call would come to me.
I see. And as we get towards the end of this, differentials is a big part of your business, and I understand that differentials is kind of both art and science because there are so many gear ratios and different ways to set up a differential that's kind of an art to itself. Is that how you find it?
Well, yeah, and again, I've been doing it for a long time, so yes, it is an art, and for your novice, somebody that's never did it, it could definitely be a struggle. I can't even begin to tell you how many differentials I've did myself. I'm sure my guys have did more than me. We do a lot of differentials at my North facility, my proven force facility. We probably do not as many at my Midwest facility, and simply because of space and employees. Um, I guess I don't know how many we do, 10 a week maybe. Uh, we sell a lot of differential parts. A lot of the shops are doing them themselves, but front differentials, like in your GM trucks, they're a high commodity. We sell a lot of those.
Well, Scott, I appreciate your time today. Well, just before we go, let's loop
Yeah.
back and talk about transfer cases just a bit because I know you do a lot of that. That market, explain a little bit about that market to us as well. That I assume is almost all stock replacement.
Yeah, mostly, unless you get into again the truck pulling guys. Most of them are stock replacements. We do a lot of transfer cases. Just about every vehicle you see on the road has a transfer case. You see very up here in our area, anyways. You see very few two-wheel drives. Um, so the transfer case has been a good product because of the all of the vehicles using those. Um, I've got four guys. That's all they do is build transfer cases, and they can't keep up.
Well, is there anything else we haven't covered as far as your marketplace goes, as far as what you see for the immediate future?
Well, we're coming into this electric market. I don't know what that's going to hold yet. Obviously, everybody has to diversify at some point, and I would imagine, we're in that market now, but until we start seeing the drive motors and stuff show up, we haven't dug into that yet.
And that's always an emerging part of the overall aftermarket.
Yep.
Scott Schleck, Midwest Transmission, Proven Force. Thank you for spending time with us today on Powertrain Perspective.
Yep. Thank you, Bobby.